Not entirely sure how I'm going to start this video, but we're just going to roll with it. This is going to be like my first of the Yahoo Youth series, is kind of what I'm thinking about calling it. It's basically just going to be about stories of me from when I was young, dumb, and whatnot in my teenage years. So strap in, get ready. We're going to talk about some things from my youth. And for this one, the reason that this story popped into my head is just because of the fact that I actually got rained out camping today and had to come home about a day and a half early from when I really wanted to. And it's about the first time I went camping, like in a tent, like first time with my buddies, just us by ourselves camping. In the background for today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building a barn for my horse. I'm hoping to get more of them and stuff. So, yeah, that's what's going to be in the background here. So, the first time that I went camping in a tent was actually back in high school. And as silly as that sounds, I just never had gone camping in a tent before. Anytime I went with my family, we always grew up with at least some sort of camp trailer. And I just never really had the need to really go out and be in a tent because we'd always go like ATV and stuff like that. And there was just really no need to ever try and sleep in a tent. With that being said, my buddy and I wanted to go do some camping, and neither of us had a camp trailer nor a vehicle to pull it, and my family was not about to let me pull our trailer. So we wanted to go camping, and there were some spots anyways, even if we did have a trailer, that we just couldn't have gotten into. And so we decided to go to Walmart and pick up this tent. Said tent, in fact, is actually the tent that I was in on this camping trip. So kind of funny to see how that goes full circle. But we decided that we wanted to go camping and nothing was going to stop us. So we ended up going and heading to Walmart, and I grabbed this, like, I can't remember the exact name of what brand it is. I think it's like the Walmart, like, o- Oland Park. I was like, what? I can't remember what it is. Walmart brand camping stuff. Ozark Trail is what it's called. And don't get me wrong, for what it was, that freaking tent is actually probably one of the best purchases. I more than definitely got my money out of it. It was on discount. I think I only paid $70 for it. It's technically like a 6-man tent. It has LEDs in built into the tent poles that will actually light the whole thing up, and we've taken that thing now on probably 50 or 60 different camping trips. So it has more than definitely earned its worth. But this was the first time that we'd got it. Neither of us had any clue what we were doing because he had never been camping before in his life, and I had never been in a tent. So it was a new experience for the both of us, that was for sure. And we went out to a place outside of my hometown called Phantom Canyon. Lots of scary things have happened there. It's from an old mining town, like roads to get back and forth. And we're like, we're going to go out, we're going to go do some camping out here and see what happens. Fuck you, Wood. So we ended up checking the tent out at Walmart and just load up in the car. We grabbed a couple MREs, and then he snagged a bottle of Fireball from his parents. And we're like, this is all we need. We ended up just hitting the road and busting our butt to get out of town as fast as we could, because it was also already dark at this time because we don't think things through. And we're like, the tent's got lights in it, like it'll be fine. And it says it's a easy setup, which it is. It literally takes like 5 minutes to get set up. All you have to do is literally unfold it and slide the legs out. You don't have to put tent posts or anything in. Nothing like that. It is a really easy tent to get set up. With that being said, though, we more than definitely overestimated our abilities of being wilderness people in that moment. We decided we were going to head out in the pitch black to try and do set up camping and just have a great night together and not have a care in the world. Thankfully, we did have a saving grace, though. Little did we know that this night was going to turn into one of the best, worst nights of our lives. And as we were heading out of town, I ended up getting a text message from one of my girlfriends that we got along super well and just were good homies with. And she was asking us, like, hey, what are you guys up to? And we invited her to come camping. She's like, I'm not going to stay, but I'll come with you. And she drove a Dodge Challenger or Charger. Challenger, that's what it was. And to say that she was not super keen on taking that car down a dirt road is an understatement. But we ended up convincing her. She followed us down the dirt road, but wouldn't turn down the path that we were going to go on, which makes sense. It was pretty rough. I don't know why we decided to take my buddy's Toyota Corolla down this road, but that is the vehicle of choice that we decided to take. This vehicle is also a standard, so that kind of plays a key fact into this night and why what happened. But we're like, okay, cool. We'll get out there. You can hop in the car with us. We'll just go to camp. And then when it's time to come back, we'll run you back up here and call it a night, more than likely anyway. So she hops in the car once we get to the pull off that we needed to take. And we hit the road. We just start cruising down this dirt road looking for one of the like 4 camping spots that were close to the river. So we ended up finding one, and it was absolutely the perfect spot. I'm not going to lie. It was the perfect spot. We had a little bit of a beach that ran into where the fire pit is. So the tent was able to like mostly sit on sand, which helped with us being able to like lay more comfortably in it, because all we had was sleeping bags. There was no mats, there was nothing. So the fact that it was sand made our lives a whole lot nicer when we went to go to bed. But we get there, and my buddy, I did not know at the time, but he went ahead and he shut the lights. He turned the car off but left the headlights on. His car was super quiet, so I didn't even realize as to why that he had shut it off. I was just like, cool, whatever. Yep, we got the headlights, so we have lights, because neither of us had flashlights or anything. I think I only had a flashlight on my phone, and his was busted, so his didn't work. So that was, aside from our one phone flashlight, that was the only light that we had to see where the tent was and how to set it all up. We ended up finally getting the tent all set up, all the tent legs pushed out and pinned into the ground, the rain fly on, everything. The whole nine was done. But the car was kind of parked in a like bad spot. It was like a little too close to the tent and where we really wanted that car to be at. So my buddy was like, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead, hop in the car and start it, and move it. Well, when he went to get in and move it, it was dead. He had left the headlights on. It took us long enough to set the tent up that the battery inside of his car had died. And with that, I was like, dude, why did you shut the car off? That's obviously like an obvious thing. If you leave the headlights on, your battery's going to die. And this was his first standard car. So he didn't know to be like, hey, how about I just like pull the parking brake and put a rock under the tire or something to keep it from rolling and just let the engine run. So we were sitting there with a dead car that we had no way of getting out of the mountains with. And thank God the friend that had come with us brought her car, because she was our only hope. There was no cell service. There was nothing. It was probably 30, 40 miles from town, let alone our houses. So it would have taken days to probably get back, and people would have lost their minds. Like even just to her car, it was like a 1.5 mile walk uphill for like half of it. So it was no easy stretch, but thankfully what we had come up with was that me and this girl were going to walk back to her car. She was going to run me back to my house so that I could get my vehicle, because I drove a big old Ford Excursion, and a pair of jumper cables and a battery pack, because just for added precaution in case something else happens, and come back and jump him. So he was like, okay, cool. I'll start a fire and I'll watch over everything, make sure nobody comes in, nothing happens. And I'm also going to put the bottle of Fireball into the little creek so that it's nice and cold, because we didn't have coolers. We didn't think that far ahead. We didn't even think to go and set up camp in the daytime, let alone even try to possibly keep our food and stuff cold. So we get him all situated, make sure that he's all right to hang out for probably what's going to look like 2 to 3 hours by himself up in the mountains where he had never really spent much time. And he assured us, he's like, "Yep, I'm fine." So we were just like, "Okay, cool. Whatever, dude. We'll be back as quick as we can." And me and her, we start our hike, and it was not fun. But we're walking this like mile and a half of it's like straight up, and it's all super rocky terrain because we live in the Rocky Mountains. And it took us probably an hour and a half to get to her car, and by then we were both exhausted. It's also like 10:30 at this point. And she's like, "I'm going to run you home, and if I don't hear from you guys by like noon tomorrow, I will come back out and maybe call the police or something and make sure that you guys are fine. But I am over tonight. You guys have managed to be some of the dumbest human beings I've ever spent some time of my life around." We're like, "Yep, that's fair." Like, it was not a very genius idea for us to be doing this. I also completely forgot that I should have put the roof on while I was there. So this girl finally ends up getting me back to my house, and she's like, "Hey, like I said, let me know in the morning that you guys are okay and everything's fine. If not, I will try and assess and assort some sign. Otherwise, I will come out there with some sort of search party and try to come save your dumbasses." And I told her, I was like, "Okay, that's fine. Thank you again so much. Like, you are the only reason we are not stranded out dying, because we were completely unprepared and just absolutely stupid for doing what we did." But she ends up taking off. I go in, and my dad was like, "What are you doing home? Like, you said you were out camping. What's going on?" And I kind of told him the situation. He's just like, "You're a fucking idiot." So I told him where I was going to be going, just in case I ended up getting stranded again or something else, God forbid, happened. And I get my vehicle and the jump pack and make my way back out to my buddy. So I make the drive back out to him, and I'm not gonna lie, that drive, like, by myself, was one of the eeriest drives of my life. Like, something just didn't feel right going out there. Granted, there's been a lot of crimes and deaths and stuff out in this area, but that wasn't even like what was on my mind. I just had this like looming fear of dread and being like creeped out. So thankfully nothing happened to him while I was gone. But I get back, we get his car jumped, we sit there and we let it run for about an hour. It's probably 1, 2 a.m. at this time. And we finally are like, "Okay, cool. I think your battery's charged up enough that we can let it sit for the night without the headlights on, because that's what killed it the first time. Like, make sure that nothing is on or plugged in this car. For the love of God, I don't want to be in this same situation again, because with my luck, my car battery is going to be dead and I need you to jump me." But after we shut the cars off, we finally decided to turn in for the night, and we end up just basically canceling all of our plans of the things that we were going to do that night and just ended up falling asleep. And when we woke up, we made some breakfast, and lo and behold, when we went to start the cars in the morning to make sure we could get out of there, my car was dead. It did not start. I had to end up having him actually jump me, which was a fun situation because he didn't really understand that for how big my engine was. He just gonna have to rev it a little bit. So his car almost died again, which thank God it did not. But he finally got me jumped, and we're like, "Okay, this has been fun, but I am over this for today." So we wound up just heading back to town and being done with it for a little while. We ended up actually not going camping after that for probably like a month or two, because we were both just like, "I don't want to be in the same situation that we were in." But after that, we ended up making sure that either there was another vehicle with us, like one of us brought our vehicles, or we had another friend that brought a vehicle to come with us, because we did not want to get stranded out somewhere. And we also started letting people know where we were going to be in the event that a emergency situation happens like this, because that could have been terrible. We would have been on t-shirts or on the news or something, like young dumb teens accidentally freeze to death because they didn't consider the fact that shutting a car off with the headlights on would drain the battery and they couldn't make it back, or something silly like that. I swear I can play this game for hours and it doesn't rain, but the second I start recording, it does some sort of storm and just turns the whole thing into a shit show. Hallelujah, that's finally done though, because that took way, way longer than it should have. Where's this fucking, like, villager? Oh, what the fuck are you doing here? Where did you come from, bro? But do you recall when I mentioned the fact that we decided we were going to put some fireball into the creek? Well, we did not recall that while this whole thing was transpiring. Neither of us recalled this until like last year, maybe earlier this year, something like that. I think it was like actually within the last 6 months or so since it happened. I was just kind of catching up with this buddy and we started reminiscing about all of our young adventures, because there will be a lot of stories with this friend of mine here shortly. That he'll become a main character in these events the more and more that I start talking about it. So yeah, it wasn't until just about 7 years later that we both realized that there is more than likely still a big old bottle, not quite a handle, whatever the like size just below a handle is, of Fireball sitting in the creek next to where we went camping for the first time and just about had the worst times of our lives ever known. But thankfully, that didn't end up happening. We did have a saving grace of a friend, which was just an absolute blessing. But man, I tell you what, I don't think I ever want to encounter something like that. I'm glad that I did, but I don't ever want to do it again. So fingers crossed, everything goes well any other time I try to go camping. But yeah, it was quite the eventful first time with my buddy on our very first time, his very first time camping and my first time camping in a tent. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you guys think I should go back and try and get that bottle of Fireball and see if it actually is still there or if somebody wound up finding it. Because I think that would be kind of funny to go back all these years later, and it probably wouldn't be until like the end of this summer, maybe this fall, before I even make it back out to where that area is. But let me know down in the comment section below if you think I should go get it. But yeah, you guys, that's going to be it for this story. This one is a little bit more of a tame one. I just wanted something easy that I was actually thinking about earlier with some of the stuff that's going on in life. But let me know what you guys thought. I have other like kind of scary stories and running from the cops stories and things like that. Let me know if you think I should keep making these or what other types of videos you would recommend. But anyways, you guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. My name is Dan, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.